Ghost is saying, look, give it to me, boys. I'll put you on my back. I'll carry us. That damage over time, it's not going to mean anything when I've got my thirst available.
Prepare for battle.
He was
going back and forth.
Sumail. Just Shinkyu. No one else. No one else has a good luck. So you get Sumail boss as well.
Man, a lot of the more Western players really love Xingqiu. Even though I remember reading an interview about Ramses, and he's like, yeah, I get along really well with Xingqiu. We've never said a word to each other, but whenever we're in a tournament, he just smiles at me and I feel really happy. So I like Xingqiu.
He's got a warm, hearty smile that he does. You see it on camera. Makes you feel all type of ways.
Though? That's the real question.
Well, you're going to hope so when he's playing this Earthshaker hero. This is a very difficult hero to pull off, so we will see. Yeah, we're going to see. I'm very intrigued. I think there's a lot of value out of the Batrider this game for Kaka. I mean, both supports are very position-based, and that's where the Batrider is able to shine. Yes, you are looking at an Omni Knight, which is always nice versus some of the heroes that rely on Dispellers, but we know the Batrider's kind of changed a little bit over time. I do still want to say I think there is even more value with the Earthshaker. Just long-range catch versus Spirit heroes always feels nice, but we'll see with already potentially giving up First Blood. In fact, it's a guaranteed First Blood, as they're going to make sure they give it over to XXS, and Aster already get the ball rolling.
Yeah, as the exact start that they were wanting. I mean, XXS, all you need to give him is a little bit, because you want to be able to make rotations away from this lane, right? The Batrider is going to be able to make kills happen. He's going to want to start cutting waves. He wants to start stealing away some of the Bloodseeker's farm as well. Oh, it's already looking rough for Xtreme Gaming off the back of this. I did just have a look. So with the B patch of 7.34, they did buff repel a little bit, so now it's a 36-second cooldown, but it's still a 6-second duration, which, I mean, what is that, a 1/6 uptime? Doesn't feel that great.
Sorry, yeah, I was looking at the...
Yeah, I know what you're looking at. But I was like, really, is it still that low? But anyway, it's still not sufficient enough in my eyes. Looks like they will still be able to block up that camp, though, and give away a courier. All right, that feels kind of nice. But this is really what you're wanting to do, right? You're wanting to not lane into them super early on, just because you're going to get out-harassed, out-traded, and maybe once, Kaka's level 2 and XXS is level 3, that's the period where you could look to start to go for a few more of these dives.
So I do think bottom lane as well is probably just going to be a farm fest. I actually think this favors Dire more so, because I think an Earthshaker Mars lane is very abysmal. You want to be playing a Mars with a range damage dealer. Sure, there's going to be some value with Fissure to be able to set up for the spear. But yeah, it's just going to be Manate will eventually shove out the lane, and JT, there's nothing he has to be too worried about. He's going to go double Bracer, probably Soul Ring. So an early farmed Mars will definitely help the Earthshaker be able to rotate, but we'll see what Xingqiu is able to do with that, and how, kind of the active style that he's probably going to have.
I mean, they've managed that bottom lane incredibly well. JT just got underneath the tower. He got 2 denies underneath it. He put out some harass onto the Medusa, and you pulled the wave at the same time while taking 0 tower hits. So this is the lane, though, that I think everyone's wanting to see. How does this mid Omni Knight do against one of the best mid laners in the world in Sumail? He must have asked for it. He must have said, look, this is the response. This is how we're going to dominate the lane. I was initially thinking, are we going to see an XM Shadow Fiend? He's very comfortable on the hero, but that doesn't really stop you from getting run over. That's why I was leaning so heavily towards a Kunkka, because it provides you that team fight. It provides you that a little bit of extra survivability, not just for yourself, but for the team. And I guess Omni Knight fulfills a similar sort of niche, but we just don't see it so much anymore.
I mean, the last person that I saw run this Omni core was Savage at, I think, the Berlin Major, maybe? It didn't look very good at all. So I'm very intrigued on what the item build is going to be overall for XM. I mean, at least the skill build's 202, but we do see with all the pure damage, nice slide dodge from Sumail, but
just little things like that really just make what's already a hard lane even harder for you. And Omni has no way to be able to get rid of that Flame Guard as well. You would imagine with playing with a Mirana and a Batrider, you want to put some points into the Searing Chains, but if you could just guarantee that Flame Guard is always going to be running, you're over the moon for that. Only pure damage from the Omni Knight.
Yeah, I wonder when Sumail is going to start to consider outputting points in the chains, though, because the other games we've seen with the Mirana, it's been like a 2-4 build, and then, of course, 1 point with the Remnant eventually. So, yeah, I wonder when he's going to decide on the chains or not for him. But overall, looks like both lanes, I mean, really, JT is demolishing bottom, and the 13 last hits currently from Monade. So, like you said, the kind of creep manipulation they've done early on with the dragging of waves is really favored Xtreme currently.
They've even got a half pull off on this camp as well, so not revealing too much of the pull. You're also going to, well, I guess Picho is still going to be able to secure the bottom water in for his team. I mean, the thing is with the Searing Chains, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Sumail to go into it because you are going up against an Omni Knight, right? He's got the repel, but also he needs his level 6. Really, where he's going to look to use the Searing Chains is when he's got that that Fire Remnant to be able to, catch someone under vision and then look to go in, combo it together with something like an arrow. So I'm really expecting to see that be the case. Right now, it's just about the lane domination. 3rd point into the Flame Guard right now. Does mean that you still take a lot of that pure damage, but you're going to be pumping back a lot of damage the other way too.
Yes. We did see, though, the heavy commitment from Aster to secure those runes, so we'll see if that's going to be a similar thing once we get towards the 6-minute timing and the first power rune of the game. XXS takes a little bit of damage, but nothing for him to worry about. It's going to have the Vanguard very shortly, which will definitely free up his lane. And meanwhile, Kaka, I mean, this is, again, ridiculous amount of stacks. They have already dropped the ward, though, so Xtreme have all the info they need to be able to play accordingly.
I don't know if they have the heroes to be able to play accordingly, though, right? Like, what are they supposed to do against this? They have no Maelstrom. They've got a Purification. That's about it. That's going to be able to take it. Maybe the Ice Vortex as well, helping them out a little bit, but really, I feel like it's just going to be a case of punishing someone when they're farming it as opposed to just going and stealing it for yourself from 100 to 0. So I'm sure that Aster are going to be aware of that, so they're going to make sure that the lanes are always in a really aggressive spot before they make that sort of play happen, even getting a career kill.
A bit cautious, though, because Xinkyu is nearby. Fisher's going to be able to set up for the Blood Right. And these are the rotations that you need. And of course, the gold doesn't feel too bad given over to the Earthshaker. Is another game, though, where we're going to have to keep our attention over towards the Wisdom Runes as well. But first, we got those Power Runes.
Lucky.
XM's going to get lucky enough to get the Arcane.
Feels a lot stronger once he's able to pick up those phase boosts, right? Just enable a little bit more of the chase. But the thing is, Sumail, he still gets that bottle refill with Kaka's death, and it means that he's going to be healthy enough with those Fire Remnants to be able to dodge out a lot of the aggression coming through from the Omni Knight. Plus side, of course, is that Siege Creep ends up being taken out. Wasn't able to secure the last hit, unfortunately, but still feels pretty solid just to be able to, again, slow the game down a little bit. The Bloodseeker needs time to be able to come online. The Omni Knight needs to be able to get into like an Echo Saber and an Aghanim Shard for himself as quickly as possible. Build into the Harpoon as well.
Picho's already getting set up for this Wisdom Room, so should go Shinku's away considering he has the stuns to work with. Maybe even the creeps are going to be able to block for the arrow. Very nice read.
He knows.
Yeah, this man, he knows indeed. Top lane, JT. First rotation out of the game for the Mars. They want to try and slow down with the Darks here, and I mean, you'd usually feel like XXS with this Vanguard would feel pretty safe in this lane, but JT comes up through the Rift, uses the Arena, and that is a huge kill as well. I'm very impressed with the early game out of Xtreme. They are off to a great start.
They were. I mean, this is basically a mirror image of what we saw in the last, in game number 1. Basically just showing, once again, the individual dominance. Ooh, just able to dodge out that spear into the Fissure Wall as well. But JT by far has been the MVP for mine. He has gotten out of this with way too much farm. He's put a ton of harass on. He's made rotations to enable his cause as well. He is really showing why he was one of the peak offlaners for quite some time when he was playing on IG, and he's really delivering now on Xtreme Gaming. Ever since Riyadh, honestly.
Yeah, like we said to start kind of the day, that his performance at Riyadh, even though it didn't kind of showcase in results, unfortunately for them, with what you said, 7 losses in a row to close out the groups, but he was on another level. No, without a doubt. So, and this is kind of the big thing that I was bringing up earlier, is I'll hold that arrow just off the mark onto Xinkyu. They are also taking that stack as well with Karka and XXS, so both the Batrider and the Darkseer getting some much needed levels. Goes through. Is he going to have the damage? Nice TP from Karka.
Yeah, they know that it might be going on, but it's just a little bit too late, unfortunately. They miss the hard camp, they get it blocked up, they get a D-ward off. All right, nice little rotation. Not too much of a consequence for that. Ghost might lose a couple of creeps underneath the tower, but it's still generally okay. Echo Saber starting to be built into by XM. He's also got a shield rune bottled up, so as a strength hero, obviously going to be able to make a lot of usage out of that. Might punish a few extra deep dives that Sumail might be looking to make. Really feels like all they're waiting for on Aster is their ultimates to be up and available, right? The Moonlight Shadow especially for Pichio, just to be able to make a lot more of those quick rotations, prevent the TPs that have come out from the likes of Xingqiu and JT. Speaking of Xingqiu, he is soaking up a lot of this farm inside the mid lane, wanting to make sure that he's progressing. And I love the fact that he's already queued up the Aghanim Shard. This is the way to play Earthshaker for mine. You can't just rush the Blink Dagger. It's way too greedy. You don't do enough, and especially against this Team Aster lineup that has the potential to run at you early, you need that quick response to it now. You can't just wait.
And, I mean, also you can just say you don't need the Blink with the Mars, so
nope.
Like he's going to be able to fulfill that role. I don't think you'll get close enough to catch out Karka. They're really trying to go for this Batrider. Firefly will expire pretty shortly. And there's the Rupture. And there's the combo as well. So another kill that they're able to get involved in 10 minutes into the game. With that as well, it's going to be able to secure the Illusion Room for XM. Even JT TP'd through the Rift once again to see if they could maybe catch up the Darkseer. And backstab him for the rest of the heroes. He's now going to reveal himself back in the lane with the TP.
I mean, he feels very confident to go here, right? With no Rupture available, with Mars showing back on the bottom side. Very comfortable just to sit back, again, play a little bit more passively. I wonder if... he doesn't have a smoke. I was wondering if he just sits with the Ion Shell underneath the creeps, but he's just going to put the Ion Shell onto the Ancients anyway to be able to pick up that farm for himself. Probably the only hero on Team Aster that suffered a little bit off the back of this laning stage after picking up that first blood for himself. So wondering what he opts to go for here. Like, is this... I'm not sure if it's a pipe game. Greaves feels relatively okay just to be able to, you know, dodge out a couple of the slows that might be coming out from them if you're caught inside the silence from the Bloodseeker as well.
Well, he's going for the kill into XM. Tries to play with the illusion, but it's not going to be enough. That's a huge solo kill. Sumail able to make something out of nothing there, so... I mean, you even get the rotation out from Xingqiu, who is right by the triangle, so close range TP. Meanwhile, now Pichio is also going to drop the Observer down by this triangle outpost area, so it's going to help them continue to play aggressively. A ward that we saw very similarly placed against Team Zero in one of their games, and they got a lot of value out of it, so we'll see if that'll be the case in this game.
I think the difference this game is that Xtreme aren't wanting to go for any sort of like big smoke plays just yet. You know, everything that they're going to be doing is around JT, and he's just been using the Twin Gates for that sort of role. I think he needs to be able to build up into that Blink Dagger first before they're able to make any of those sorts of plays. And even like the Omni Knight doesn't feel incredibly safe right now. Xingqiu, I mean, I wonder if he's saying kill the range creep. I think I saw that ping out there from Xingqiu. Oh, Ice Blast.
Oh, the Ice Blast. All right, now Xingqiu can get the second round of spells off. They're secure with a kill and the pure... Oh, so close to keeping him alive, but nonetheless, the damage has been dealt. And now Pichio... Oh, they're going to drop Arena for it. Maybe not keeping tabs of the leaps being on cooldown. Nonetheless, it guarantees the second kill and gives JT some bonus gold as well. He's not going to mess around straight to bottom because he wants to get ever so close to this Blink Dagger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's really nothing for him to do for the next 70 seconds, so may as well just go back to farming. And that's the big thing, right? With the Repel, no magic resistance provided from it. No magic damage reduction either, like you normally would get from a BKB. So you still got the full impact out of that 3-point Starstorm from Pichio. You just see what Aster have in mind, though. They want to go with the drums on the Mirana. They want to get a kill on Ghost as well.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get it. Tries to drop some spells. It's not going to be enough to deter Aster, so instantly a movement to top they go, and we'll see what they're going to be able to do with the 25 seconds that the Bloodseeker's not alive for. They're even scanning the Twin Gate just in case there's some extra people coming down to defend top tower.
Yeah, they should know that JT has the arena on cooldown, though. They're not going to feel confident enough to be able to fight without this. Jinq once again just being given a lot of farm in this mid lane. He's almost level 7. 900 gold away from that Aghanim shard for himself. So he's keeping up somewhat, but the big thing is they're not really wanting to let up here with a TP up top actually coming from XM. He's got the Echo Saber to be able to play around with, and they really don't want to lose this tower. They need to try and keep this top area as safe for Ghost to farm as possible. Again, he's going to use the Mighty Minds buff, 7 HP per second, plus the Thirst regen coming through for the Bloodseeker means that he could just sit back until he's got this this BKB, as long as he's got that extra barrier in the tier 1 tower to give himself some safety.
I like this move a lot. You see a couple of TPs top, so they're instantly going to try and Moonlight Shadow and run to mid. Like, this is just a support kill, but it's a very valuable one at that. We've seen that Jinq has been left alone mid lane for quite some time, like you're highlighting. So if you can continue to slow down the experience getting gained and the gold getting gained as well, it will definitely minimize his effectiveness. And in fact, that kill gives the Blink Dagger gold to Kaka. So really like that from Aster.
That feels amazing. I mean, the main person that he's looking to try and find is Ghost with a lot of these rotations with the Blink, with the Lasso. I can understand wanting to get rid of JT as well, considering how much he's providing in terms of team fight. But you just see instantly, as soon as this comes back, they go for a smoke, but it's almost got instantly popped there by the Sleight of Fist from Sumail. Luckily enough for them, still under the cover of that darkness. They're going to be able to get back, whereas JT's spellcasting going to be on point once again.
It's a hard kill. It's a hard kill. Let's see if they're going to be able to have the damage. Ice Blast connects with the Echo Slam as well. They have to use everything for the Ember. Surely. And they should be able to get him.
Surely.
One more right click. Sumail is going to tick out, I think. All right, they got him.
The Ice Blast,
last second, man.
Oh, that would have been a disaster if they weren't able to pick that one off. They used everything to be able to take him down. And JT once more. He's found Monet.
He's got a greater healing Lotus. Not too many one charges. Stone Gate's going to be activated. TPs are starting to come down from the boys on Aster. They'll be there in the nick of time to keep him alive as XM tries to play around with the Guardian Angel. Kaka can assassinate DY into the backline, and now with the pipe as well from XXS, the damage is going to be started to mitigate, but it's not going to matter in the end. As Xtreme, they've got the numbers advantage. He's back alive though, and he wants to try and turn the tides with the TP, and XM's in some danger. Xtreme, though, they're going to act as a bodyguard, just holding hands, helping to retreat as a team. Sumail doesn't want to let him go for free, though. Arrow's going to fly from downtown. They should have the damage inside the stun lock. And yeah, JT recognizes there's nothing that he can do to keep him alive, so he's going to try and blink away and cut their losses at that.
A little bit of a nothing fight, right? Like, you get 2 kills for one, mid laner for off laner. They would have loved to be able to pick up Monet, of course, off the back of that, but some really good spell casting. And it's just so early that Ember Spirit's going to be back alive at the end of it all.
Well, mid lane, they might get Monet. Arena's back up. Oh, there's a huge move from JT. This time, they'll get Monet. What a read from him. This is the man that we have been praising a lot so far this series, and his arenas have been exceptional so far, 16 minutes into this game 3.
Looking incredibly solid, and he's even working towards that BKB. So you could tell that Aster, their timing is a little bit quicker than what they're looking to play around with. I don't remember the last time I actually saw a BKB on a Darkseer this early on, but clearly they just not want to be locked down by anything that Mars is looking to run at them. Xinqiu's
trying to get greedy for the blink.
Oh,
Smoke's gonna bypass him. They'll go for Ghost instead.
Ghost.
Oh, he's so low. Can he kill the Ancients? Okay, he died anyway. It's not gonna matter. Xinqiu got a little bit cautious too.
A lot of HP back if he was able to take out those Ancients, but instead gives up his life. Doesn't quite have that BKB just yet. So again, this is really Aster need to keep making these aggressive plays. They've got the drums to be able to do it. They've got the aura with the pipe. Sumail, he just wants to be able to go for those consistent pickoffs. Boots of Travel queued up for the Ember Spirit as well. Really feels like this is where Aster is at their strongest, doesn't it? They're going to go for a big wraparound onto XM.
And they're smoking though to move top on Xtreme. It's without the blink though. 50 gold needed for the Earthshaker.
Bit of a pincer move.
They're going to make another attempt onto Monet. Beautiful speed placement from JT. Sets up for the Ice Blast and raiding. They'll be a little bit too late. Everything has to be used, so we'll see if they can still take the fight afterwards. As XXS lands the wall onto 3, and it's going to be disastrous for them, but Xtreme stands strong. It's not over just yet. It's now Ghost gets involved, and Sumail is out of remnants and soon to be out of health as well. The damage from XM tears him apart at Xtreme. They lose no one inside that fight.
Man, that was just phenomenal. And again, that was without a BKB as well on Ghost's Bloodseeker. So he was really in the thick of things, you know, going up against that vac wall, going up against a lot of the damage coming through from the Ember Spirit, just that Flame Guard. Very little tools to be able to remove that damage over time, but he still doesn't care. All of that thirst. Healing coming through at the very end of it. This is where Dota comes down to a game of seconds, right? If they get there a couple of seconds earlier, Monet lives. You probably are able to get off some sort of like mana to be able to allow him to get off the Stone Gaze. You're able to turn things around, and then you've got a Medusa right-clicking into all of it, but instead, no Medusa, they're lacking the damage, and I mean, you just see what the result is. JT once again on point with the arena just to be able to catch out the stragglers.
Dude, JT's feeling it this game. Trying to get some L there. Very close to being able to do so, but an XM spellcast in that previous fight was exceptional. So we're going to have to look to see what Aster are going to be able to do to address the Omni Knight, who is very, very close to a BKB if he wants to disassemble the Echo Saber. And honestly, we're saying I was not expecting Xtreme to have this commanding of a position. I really thought we were going to see Aster play a little bit more of a fast-paced, very similar game to what we saw in their lineup in Game 2, but they have been unable to do so.
Also thinking with Xtreme Gaming as well, I mean, you've got once again a lineup that all 5 heroes
Bottom lane,
of JT. This would be huge.
Nice reaction.
Got to slow them down.
He can still hunt though.
Those Ice Vortexes on the ground, try and slow them down a little bit. Use the Sentry Ward for a bit of coverage, and man is playing the game of his life right now. I was about to say, all 5 Ag Shards, great for Xtreme Gaming. We can see that Xingqiu, he's bought his. He's got that plus the blink now, just at 20 minutes. So he's having a phenomenal game so far. And it also means that you might even end up getting with that first Tormentor, the Ag Shard for the Mars. Yeah, I probably will.
Have you brought up Midas on DY?
I was about to. I saw him use it just previously. He just bought it, so he ended up getting the first usage out of it. And, I mean, luck is a factor in Dota a lot of the times, and Gossamer Cape against an Ember Spirit feels pretty damn great as well. So he feels like he's a lot more survivable. He doesn't feel like he needs to go into into stuff that's going to keep him alive if he's got that extra layer to not worry about the Ember Spirit quite so much. So you can get away with going something like a Midas that's going to enable you to scale into the mid to late game.
So I think really the big thing that hasn't gone addressed so far is Monet's Medusa. And something you brought up in the draft with this Bloodseeker pick is that you picked it into Medusa. Often you really don't care about that matchup at all. Rupture is a non-factor for you. You're able to stand your ground, act as a blockade, so Bloodseeker can have some difficulty getting to the backline. And currently Monet is farming very well, even with these 2 deaths. So this is still something for us. I mean, this game it's only 3,000 deficit as well. But Monet, without a doubt, can put the team on his back this game.
I think we're going to see that 27-minute GG. They end up smoking underneath a ward here on the bottom side, though. Only JT was caught by it, but it'll be enough to potentially influence the positions. XXS just wants to keep that wave as shoved out as possible so that the tower isn't under any sort of threat. You can see them pinging it out as well. The fact that there's a second Ion Shell down there, so they know that Darkseer is around, but I kind of get the sense that they want to avoid Darkseer. They want to avoid the strongest part of Team Aster's team fight right now. I think they would take a kill onto Picho, but he's quick enough on the fingers that he should be able to get away, although all leap charges expended.
They
Wild Goose Chase.
Yeah, it'll take a while.
Okay. Might be enough to get them mid-tier 1. Which, I mean, again, anything that's going to enable them to invade where Monet is farming and keeping up in net worth is going to be a huge benefit for them.
Really, the person who's struggling to keep up at the moment is XM on this Omni, so
you got to keep getting kills. Omni is not a farmer. Omni is a brawler. So as long as you can keep the ball rolling in that regard, still feeling confident. They go for another smoke here on Xtreme. They're not happy enough with just the 1 kill. I think if they catch XXS far enough away, which he was, but then he just ends up TPing back to the safety of his tier 2 tower, will be just fine. They're trying to slow this game down right now. They're trying to prevent XM from getting a lot of these kills. They do, I believe, just get a brief look at Sumail. They're waiting for Xingqiu, I believe. Do they have the shard? They do.
Oh, that timing, man. I love how they try and... Well, they're actually trying to TP in on Aster. So we do see Xtreme over position.
Sumail just doesn't have any mana. You can't fight right then.
It's a very cute way for them to make the attempt onto Sumail with using the Ice Blast for vision instead. Because if JT jumps blind, you're always going to get the slide off. I know it doesn't work in the end, but just that minor thing. Like this, that's the highest % chance of them getting the kill in the end. And regardless, doesn't work out, but back in a roast they go, and it looks like it will be uncontested for Aster.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made that better is if Xingqiu was there, but he was busy pushing out the wave. You can't reveal all heroes missing on the map. You're going to know something's up. So with him there, maybe trying to lull Sumail into a false sense of security. You also had the Ag Shard on the AA as well, so if it did land, rather than just providing vision, would have been that little bit of a stun to enable that that setup into the spear a little bit more effectively. But at least they get something out of it. You've got the BKB, you've got the Mjolnir as well on the Bloodseeker, so with the Medusa split shot, it's a great way to guarantee a lot more of that damage coming out in these team fights.
Aster feeling like they maybe have to force the issue here with this T2 tower defense. Very good team fight. It's just a question of how you start and really who you start on. Xtreme.
This ward, once again, Kaka, it's just giving them so much information of where exactly they're positioning. They'll see them walk up onto the twin gate. I wonder if this means that they just feel confident enough to say, you know what, as long as they're not making plays aggressively against us, as long as they have the Aegis, we're happy to just sit back. I mean, Monet's farming. We want him to get into the butterflies so that we're not quite as worried about all the damage coming in onto him. And again, like XM, he has been stuck on the same couple of items for a little bit now. He really wants to be able to finish up that BKB so that they can truly make this push happen.
Nonetheless, as the game goes on, he will still have a lot of value with this Guardian Angel, like we said, versus the Duso. So do we feel like there needs to be an item here from Aster, the Nullifier, to potentially mitigate some of the Omni-Knight's effectiveness from his ultimate, or is that just...
Who buys it, though?
Yeah, sure.
Like, you need it on so many heroes that... so many heroes have the potential to buy it, but they need better items, basically, beforehand. So I don't necessarily think you need to worry about that. Maybe Mirana could go like a Yule's, just so that if the Guardian Angel's popped, you can use it onto one of those heroes and look to try and focus them down during the duration, but... doesn't seem like that's the way that Picho is itemizing right now.
There's a bit of an opportunity for them down bottom. They got a really good ward mid of the remnant to the tower. That scouts out XM.
Look at Xingqiu's positioning.
They need to come down straight away from Xtreme if they want to take the fight. Xingqiu will reveal himself. Drops the Echo before the death, which sets up for the Ice Blast as well. It'll be a 1-for-1 exchange for the moment, but Xtreme do commit a couple of ultimates for that. It gives them time, though. Okay, yeah, that is true. I didn't see that.
Finally, BKB's now coming out for XM. Level 15, so maxed out all of his spells. Level 15 talents for Omni aren't the greatest, so pretty understandable. But it looks like they just don't want to make a play around the bottom side. The only reason that they're playing down there like they did to be able to get the pick off onto Xingqiu is because they've got vision. So they're saying, look, there's only a certain number of observer wards that you've got to be able to play around. If they've got them bot, let's just look to play elsewhere. Mid, top, either one's just fine.
What do we, because we can kind of get a little bit crafty with maybe some of the item decisions from DY with this Midas. So what are we hoping he goes down? I think it's a mechanism about to be completed, but he can go for maybe some more luxury items this game as well. What are we hoping out of the 5 ancient apparition?
Honestly, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just trying to... Like, is he going to be the one that's going into the Yules? Is he going to be... Like, it provides you a decent amount of protection as well, I suppose. You might also look to go into... perhaps a Lotus. I mean, he's already got the arcane boots that could be converted into the Greaves, but it does provide you a good amount of protection as well if Ember Spirit does get onto you. Yeah, Gossamer Cape provides some layer of protection against the Sleight of Fist, but always good to just have that little bit extra and a way to be able to get rid of things like the Searing Chains on someone else, prevent the lasso onto targets when you're looking to eventually go high ground, because that's a really troublesome position, right? Xtreme Gaming need to win a fight handedly before they go onto high ground, because you're going into a Medusa, a Darkseer, and a Batrider on high ground. That is scary as hell.
Yes, it is. There's always that potential for Darkseer to surge up the Batrider before he gets that initiation. So, I mean, Kaka with this Philosopher's Stone, going to be working on a BKB next as well, and I mean, we all know the Batrider. I mean, he's got 114 last hits here with the supports, so highest amount out of all the supports. So yeah, he's going to be able to scale very well. Looks like both sides are getting pretty comfortable this game. When a Butterfly about to be completed, level 20, They haven't really grown too much with this stages. I guess the tier 2 tower does just get claimed bottom, but maybe this could be a big item. We're speaking about what DY can go for. He's actually going to decide for the gem now for them. So we all know how important vision is going to be, considering both sides have multiple ways to initiate. So currently probably will favor Xtreme until a gem's picked up from Radiant. Never mind, Pichu actually even has one already.
Just makes the vision game that much more important, but gotta say, Xtreme haven't really been playing on this top side of the map for what feels like the last 5 or so minutes. They took Roche down bot, they've stuck down there for that attempt where XinQ died previously, but someone might be forced to go back. The thing is, if they make that sort of play, that'll be the trigger for Aster to just put their foot on the pedal, because they know Aegis, it's just expired, so you can't look to separate too much if you're Xtreme Gaming.
I like this build from Mr. JT. I believe I remember a game at Riyadh where he went this absolute Giga Chad build. I think he was even like no Blink Dagger, to be honest, but he's got AC, Halberd into Satanic. We'll see what the other choice is going to be for him, but he's really looking to scale, and I mean, he's doing an incredible job at that with his farm. And late game Mars can definitely be a bit of an issue, but I feel like finally now Aster, they're in a position where they can look to make something happen. You got this butterfly now completed. They're starting to group up as a team. The lanes are in a pretty decent position as well, thanks to Samael.
Blink Dagger on XXS as well, so they've also got that tool. Kaka a little low on mana, but he's got the clarities to be able to keep himself healthy enough. 5-man smoke against, well, just a melee creep looking to push on forward. Yeah, he has to be a little bit careful. No Aegis.
Kaka jumps. The fissure to counter, but it's not going to matter. They drag him back into an 8 damage. Ghost has got time to pop the BKB. He'll get to the safety of his side of the map. What's the call now? This is a very scary high ground.
You can't walk into JT and XinQ. You use the fissure there, obviously using the Aghanim Shard to be able to slow things down a little bit, but it really just goes to show why you are seeing like a Lincoln Sphere being picked up by XM, just to be able to prevent a lot of that dive coming in onto them. And then it's kind of going back and forth right now. Xtreme Gaming, they're on the back foot. They're playing a little bit more of the slowdown game. They're waiting for the BKB to be back up and available for Ghost, and he desperately needs that Aghanim Scepter for himself.
Bounty.
It's going to take some time though for him to get there, but
Nullifier Monet, he's got it queued up. So he wants to be able to cancel out that Guardian Angel. I mean, it doesn't have the greatest cast range, is the only hesitation thing that I had around picking it up on the Medusa. So he's really going to need to put himself in harm's way, and maybe that's going to be the little window that XinQ needs to be able to land that gigantic Echo Slam that could just turn this game on its head. It's only 100 or so gold away from picking up a BKB himself for the Earthshaker.
He's very farmed, very, very farmed. And we know it's always brought up, but China late game, it even supports once you're able to get items, you start to become cores. It has always been a region that can execute team fights at such a high level. So not only the DICE support's going to be able to have impact, but also the Radiant ones like Pichu, even just with his itemization, is going to be able to help out the boys. We'll see what Aster can do this time, like you were saying. Ghost is still a little bit away from this scepter, so if a fight does break out, he's not going to have that big item to work with.
And XinQ isn't immediately behind him as well. He's gone back to base to try and regen up a little bit. He wants to be able to get that quickening charm available just to provide that chain lockdown. They would love to be able to take the Tormentor as well, but it's such a risky prospect to be able to do that right now with Aster revealing off the map for as long as they have. Top lane's pushed in and no one's putting pressure there. Mid lane's in a good spot, no one's putting pressure there. They can only be bottom, and they know there's the potential for Roshan to be up. Luckily enough for Xtreme, it's not going to be for the next minute and a half.
It's really important that they're able to get...
Just holds up the shield. Ghost is very, very aggressively positioned though. Got that scepter coming out to him now, delivered. So a lot harder of a prospect. You can just see instantly goes in onto the creep wave, gives himself an extra 400 shield to be able to play around with. Constantly wants to just be picking up a bit of quick farm just to give himself that extra little bit of a buffer. And it's just Roshan. They're playing for Roshan, both teams not wanting to leave this sort of area, even though a Tormentor would be amazing for Xtreme Gaming right now. Getting that double spear potential from JT. Getting the healing from the Blood Rage for Ghost. You just see they're giving him all of this farm, all of these ways to be able to burst through.
They're gonna try and move up now. They see Samael up top. They want to try and get a little bit of space here from Xtreme.
They found
That's
JT.
a great start onto JT, but XM's gonna try and do what he can to protect him. Repel holds JT down, gets some distance away. Aster have won the vision battle.
Yeah, he got the sentry, not the observer ward, which is the main area of concern. They just don't want to take this fight during the daytime when they don't have that vital vision available, and Roche is up in 5 seconds. So once again, like you said, Aster, they've won the vision battle. You've got JT, DY putting the Ice Vortex up there on the high ground. They're going to be able to spot it out as well, removing some of that advantage. Repels coming through.
Starts onto the juicer. XXS, what an opening! Back on a 4, but can they capitalize with the initiation? Samael's gonna be able to deal with the AA. Xingqiu turns around with a big Echo Slam, and now it's up to Ghost to get into the middle. They're gonna try and deal with Samael. A Remnant over the top, but Xingqiu's timing was perfect! What was that enchant totem? Earthshaker holds him down momentarily, and now Xtreme, they've got the opening for this Roshan.
There's a reason Xingqiu is on the list of approved Earthshaker players, my man. This is because of what he's just able to do with so little. Like, they've given him way too much farm. He's just going absolutely off. And, well, now with this, they get the second life to be able to play around with. It was a 4-man vac wall from XXS. You really can't fault too much about the man with how he was able to take that previous fight. It's not even like you could look to scale into something like the normal punch as well. These aren't heroes that give a huge amount of advantage off having like an extra Darkseer illusion from.
I was gonna say, hopefully we get time to see that replay again, because
oh yeah,
I just XXS, but there's just no one there, no one to follow up. They stun locked the Deucer down, so she was unable to get any extra damage out, and Xingqiu's freely spellcasting with that BKB.
Bang, caught him out.
Timing, dude.
Yeah, so good.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, it's the impact of the quickening charm, right? Just giving him that little bit extra. Getting him up to his level 18 as well with another wisdom rune claimed for himself. I'm sure he's going to be pinging out that Tormentor. You know, they can look to sit back a little bit. They want to wait for their spells to come off on cooldown. They would love to have a Lotus Orb or a Lincoln Sphere come through. And, well, DY, with that Midas, he's up to level 17. He's nearly going to have another Midas usage come through, and he's only the plate mail away from being able to pick up that Lotus Orb for himself. So, you know, a lot of the initiation aspects that you're going to have off the back of Karka are going to be removed very shortly. Does have that BKB though. Really going to need to be the one that dives in deep. Has the Force Staff to be able to break Lincolns too. So it comes down to individual plays when it gets to this stage. We finally got a good game, a long game, 36 minutes now. Looking fairly even, only a 6k net worth lead, but you gotta say, Xtreme Gaming, they're the ones in the driver's seat. All right, Dota Plus said it's 100% win probability, but I think that's a little bit of a bug.
Yes, no, it is definitely bugged out. It's funny you say 36 minutes a long game as well, considering we've had a bunch of games that have been like
sieged,
yeah, 100%. We've had a lot of games that have been very, very one-sided so far, but not this game in particular. We still have a lot left unwritten so far to be able to determine who will make it over to the upper bracket finals. Aster going to be able to get the Aghanim Shard for PTO, nothing too crazy. Meanwhile, Satanic also completed for JT's Mars as well.
Chad, we can't say this enough. What a Chad. They are walking around underneath an observer ward right now, but I really don't feel like Astra are wanting to make a play unless they go way too deep. Right now, Xtreme Gaming feeling confident enough to just be able to stand behind Ghost with that big Blood Mist shield. He's still 900 or so gold away from his Lincoln Sphere. Very, very close to being able to pick it up.
Dude, that's a huge ward. That's a huge ward, man.
Yeah.
Someone's got to deal with it. They group up. They're so ready. Look at JT and Xingqiu's position. Right, there we go.
They got rid of it.
Oh, give the ward. All right.
You'll still have time to be able to make plays with this Aegis, right? Like, Lincoln's is basically done for Ghost. I think he went the Satanic instead of a Lincoln's on JT. XM, he's gone for Lincoln's as well. He should be fine enough with just the Ultimate Orb, and you've got the Lotus coming out very shortly from DY, almost level 18 as well, off the back of everything. So it's looking real good for Xtreme Gaming right now. That's just going to walk all the way back to base.
Monet really is going to have to do some crazy things in these fights. We were saying early on that, you know, he could be a pivotal reason why Aster were able to get the victory, but He's got a lot of the net worth, and everyone else is starting to fall a little bit behind in regards to the graph.
I'm just trying, like, who can you kill at the start of these fights? That's the big thing for mine. I don't think you go on Ghost because they've got so much turret. It has to be either JT or Xingqiu, but I think JT's just way too beefy. I think it needs to be Xingqiu, but his positioning, he's always off in the trees. He's always using the fishes to be able to like walk to these really awkward positions.
Yeah.
And he's even got a BKB to be able to prevent himself if you don't literally 100-0 him.
There's a lot of value on XM as well if they're somehow able to catch him. But we see the position for him as well. Up on the high ground, it's just JT and Ghost hand in hand, sieging down. They'll force out the glyph early on.
They do have the nullifier on the Medusa, so again, get a little bit too greedy, you can get punished. There's the last hour tower now removed. Maybe just looking to play around this high ground ward that they've got. Kaka standing there waiting to try and find a straggler, but it is not worth using the lasso onto Ghost. Yeah, they, you know.
Definitely confirmed now.
Surging him as if they want to make something happen, but they just can't. It is completely not worth it. He is not close to being able to pick up anything like a refresher ob as well. And even without the Aegis, if you're not worried about the lasso, that makes it a much more tempting prospect.
Yep. So I don't know, we might be looking at something for Aster where Sumail is going to try and split up the map and force a numbers disadvantage with his boots of travel. Because at the moment it seems like the 5-man from Xtreme is just favoring them very heavily, at least in the last couple of fights and how they've gone.
I don't think they're going to get baited to move back though. Like you can see Sumail, it's only Xingqiu that's really making that sort of move just because he's got the lockdown to be able to provide, you know, long enough control for this, for the rest of the team to be able to join. I would have to say probably going to be JT that makes that sort of move. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go into something like a Scythe of Vice next on the Mars. I know you and I are big fans of that. He's gone the full Giga Chad build, but just that little bit of extra control for the Ember Spirit could really be the thing that turns the tide.
Speaking about the Scythe, XXS is also going for his own as well. So whose name has been pretty quiet this game. I mean, he had that huge vac wall down bottom by the Roche pit. But besides that, we haven't particularly felt too much of his impact so far. Of course, that he's still able to turn as this game goes on, depending on his spell casting.
Oh man, Ghost is done with boots. He just wants to be sliding around on those ice skates pretty shortly with a Blink Dagger coming through. Swift Blink queued up after that. He just wants to be able to convert onto a lot of these attempts.
Oh, are you serious? Mind... What a neutral item, dude. Not many voice lines over in China, but yeah, so there's definitely times to use them. They're going to smoke, and again, JT's positioning is going to prove to be a bit of an issue here.
Big fingers, JT.
They will get on the high ground before... Oh, dude! He's going to try and moonwalk away now and even drops Irina because the boys are funneling into the area. A little bit premature, though. It's not going to matter in the end.
Gives them a little bit of confidence, though, right? To be able to maybe make some sort of play happen. He pops the cheese in his inventory. Could probably eat the Great Healing Lotus instead of the cheese, but maybe feels like he's going to be the main target now that he's used his BKB. But it's not like they made absolutely no use out of that time. Xingqiu was able to pick up the Lincoln Sphere for himself, and now he's even going into the Refresher after the fact. Level 20 on this Earthshaker, and he's said, you know what?
Jesus.
I could go the Fisher range, but I know I've got it in me to be able to make the big plays happen. Plus 50 echo damage is the 20 talent that he opted to go for.
Other big item is Sumail just having the Scepter now, so... Do we feel like him with this freshly completed item, like is the name of the game for him just to jump the Earthshaker? Because you're just mentioning like Xingqiu, he recognizing he can make some incredible plays with the echo damage. So do you feel like it's up to Sumail to address him?
I think that's even just going to be a useful tool with the Ember Spirit having the shard, right? They changed it so it's not as good anymore, but with the Aghanim Scepter, the Remnant moves just so quickly that you're going to be able to disable the Blink Dagger on Xingqiu. And it might honestly come down to something as minimal as like not having the Blink available or thinking that you do and just having your Blink Dagger cancelled before you're able to land the Echo, slamming nothing, like this sort of thing.
Kaka's hunting.
He's too far away from his team though. There's not going to be any follow-up if he even did make a jump happen, and they're inside the trees like that. It's such a risky place to be in.
See how difficult it is as well whenever you give the Lincolns over thanks to Xinkyu. So again though, it will be Aster that gets it up by this bottom Roche area before Extreme. We saw what happened last time. Dai was still able to come out on top, and Arcane now as well for XM to work with.
Nice little placement though by Sumail with his Fire Remnant, right? Making sure that there's not going to be any blink initiation coming through from the top side. The only opening through into the jungle sort of area.
Smoke pops. Look at the initial stun onto Sumail. A little bit awkward with fault though. Sumail's still going to get hit by the Ice Blast. Remnants over to the north.
Just once again cancelling the blink days. And JT, he's not taking any damage inside of this. Gets broken, gets nullified. Of course, that's very effective against the Bloodseeker with the Blood Rage, being able to remove that. Not just a Guardian Angel Dispeller. Roshan, where you going? Get back. DY is not the main concern right now. Just got to focus on surviving. Free Aghanim Scepter would be amazing as well. Give that one a bit of
aggressive jump. Is that an opening? XM, he'll find his own. Brings down Peachy with an instant buyback. Sumail's going to try and turn as well into Xinkyu. Kaka's off the mark though with the lasso, giving an opportunity for Extreme to play accordingly. Meanwhile, JT though, Arena put it solely onto Monet, who will be protected with a Stone Gaze. It's a lot of damage onto JT, and he won't activate the cheese, but he's going to buy back. Meanwhile, Ghost turns to Stone. Has he got an opportunity to turn? He does, and look at Ghost go! One by one, they all crumble!
Oh, it's off the back of Xinkyu again, though. He just gets that chain control. 3-man stuns back to back to back. And Ghost, he's up to level 25 as well. So we know how effective the Rupture is in general against the Darkseer and the Batrider, but now you've got it for both of them. Come on, give it to Xinkyu. Give him the Aghanim Scepter. I want to see it. Looks like they've been able to yoink away the gem, though. Korea traveling on the grassy side of the map. What is that area of the map called where the Marana Courier is going on the very bottom side of the map?
The wells? In the wells?
No, like beyond the wells, beyond the wall.
Oh,
this is some Attack on Titan shit right here.
That was far up, man. The momentum is just so far on Extreme side. They gave it to JT. Team fights have always looked crisp for Extreme so far in this game 3. What can Aster even do to turn around? You got some buybacks. You'll get one out of Sumail.
I mean, he's just trying to use the remnants to be able to cut these down. It's not going to be enough. Let the soldiers do the work. Stab, stab. Doesn't even need to go with Lincolns himself. They've got enough on the supports. Honestly, XM's kind of turned into a support at this point, and that's no slight towards him. Yeah, I mean, it's literally just you were there to make sure that you didn't get dominated in the lane. You were there to make sure you had the early team fight, and you've even forced the Medusa to go something like a Nullifier, which, yeah, it's good against the Bloodseeker, but it is heavily towards, you know, preventing the Guardian Angel from having as big of an impact. So it means that JT can continue to chat it up. He's going for a heart as well on top of everything else. Off-lane Mars, not since Amara have we seen someone play it at this level.
And it's going to require Monet to... I mean, we'll see if he goes BKB before the Rapier, but because of the damage that's currently lacking with the skill, sorry, with the item build and even just the Omni Knight as a whole as well, you're going to need this damage out of the Dusa. We saw it was almost enough in that previous fight. I think they got a glimpse of Sumail.
Oh, yeah,
he just brought back, and they're going to have the damage potentially with Shinku's Echo Slam. Oh, the Ice Blast, just a stray one at that to farm the wave. Somehow it saw him out of range, and that is Sumail gone for 100 seconds. It's going to be a 4v5 defense now.
Yeah, and I mean, Jinkyu's even pushed in this top lane as well. Looks like they might be pinging out a little bit just to be able to push up on the top side. Why not, right? Bottom's going to be naturally pushing out. XXS, he's doing his best to be able to try and get into that Scythe of Ice, just to be able to stall the game down a little bit, but there really isn't anything that they need to be stopping this for right now. Ghost probably could even just buy out the Swift Blink. He's got a second life. You know there's no Ember Spirit. He's a huge source of their damage right now. And here we go. This could be the game-ending push that brings Xtreme Gaming to top 3.
Ooh.
I mean, all JT needs to do is stand up. There we go. They got the Lotus on him. They got the
that's a great fissure.
What more did we expect? There we go. Just stand on the front lines. The Deuce tries to attack into anyone else but you. It's just going to redirect towards you. You've got a heart, you've got a Satanic, you've got an AC, you've got a BKB, you've got a cheese.
1-8's men is dropping. They want to turn early Stone Gaze, XM with a jump in as well. Oh my god, the damage! Peachio gets assassinated, now making a 3v5 for the last defense of the game.
Just let the boys do the work. Come on, Soldier Boys.
The boys will indeed. Shinku finds multiple, refreshes all the stuns, and puts him in the grave for the last time. You got a couple of buybacks, but it's not going to matter. They will pillage far too much of the base for Aster to be able to repair and come back in. Xtreme, one more blow.
He's focusing everything in onto JT, and it is tickling him. They call it for good reason at the end of the day. No question for MVP for mine. 4-1-16 on the JT Mars, bringing his team almost single-handedly.